Yippee-Ki-Yay, mother.
Welcome to the party, pal.
Welcome to a special holiday roulette edition of Yippee-Ki-Yay Mother Podcast. I'm Ralph Quattrucci.
Hi, I'm Sean Paul Murphy.
I'm Debbie Murphy.
Hi, I'm Michelle Wojciechowski.
I'm Brad Barowie.
I'm John Quattrucci.
I'm Drew Gould.
All right. Well, hello, everybody. How was your week?
Oh, it was great, Ralph. Thank you for mentioning it.
You're welcome, Sean. Thanks for having a good week. All right. Let's start with, I know we're doing the holiday roulette, which is the same as the Halloween roulette, which each one of us, each box brought a movie to the table that we want to show a trailer from. We're going to pitch the movie and we're going to vote at the end of this to pick the movie we're going to do next week. Understood? But before we do that, let's talk about something you might have seen this week. So let's start with John Quattrucci.
Okay, well, today, it just so happens, when we watched The Descent, something was nagging at me. Like I'd seen this before, and I couldn't remember what it was. Well, today, I watched 1934's March of the Wooden Soldier with Laurel and Hardy. And if you haven't seen it, there's a scene at the end where they go to Boogie World, and they're in a deep cave, and all the boogeymen with claws are coming at them. So The Descent ripped the movie off.
I think you're right.
I knew I saw that somewhere before. But if you want a fun holiday movie that harkens back to a more innocent time, March of the Wooden Soldiers with Laurel and Hardy. Take a look. That's what I want.
Fantastic.
Viewers, if you too would like to chip in for John's future therapy, please find.
Well, speaking of which, John, is there something you'd like to say before the 9 minutes about subscribing or something? Or is that no? You don't want to do that?
What are you talking about?
If any, no viewers?
Oh, you mean subscribe, hit the notification button, and share?
Thank you.
Of course.
That's exactly what I mean.
Please do that. Like, I don't beg enough every week, and apparently it ain't working.
Well, Young Frankenstein's working.
Yeah,
right.
Other than that one.
Sean and Debbie, what did you watch this week?
Well, we did not watch March of the Wooden Soldiers or Babes in Toyland because I suggested that to Debbie as a possible holiday movie, and she said no and shot us down. And we'll get into our whole holiday movie, why we made the choice we made later. But one film we did watch was a possible holiday choice was Trading Places with Eddie Murphy.
Excellent.
I love Eddie Murphy. Eddie Murphy is so funny. You know, the whole bunch of them, you know, at that time. Richard Pryor, Eddie Murphy, Bill Cosby.
Were they all in that movie?
No, but they were all really super funny. You know, this was the era of super funny. But strangely enough, that movie, Trading Places, wasn't a good Christmas movie.
There's a Santa Claus in there.
It didn't quite hold up.
No.
And also, there was some blackface and other embarrassing issues.
So, you know, it's for this time. And some of the things is for, you know, this time, you know, with what's going on in the world. But it's not.
So we put Trading
that on hold.
Places aside.
And then
So wait, are you recommending it or not recommending it?
Well, it was great for the time, but maybe...
It was so funny at the time, but the humor is not so funny now.
Well, it's not as
I still
sensitive
think
now.
it's funny. Wow.
Yeah,
The
I still
issues
think it's
aren't
funny.
sensitive. And when you think sensitivity, there's only one square you consider on this podcast, and that's Debbie and me.
Oh,
We are the sensitive couple.
very sensitive. Very sensitive. All right. Well, okay. Drew, what do you got?
Well, obviously, I want to take some time to let, especially John, know what I watched this week, but I want to start with an apology. I'm a reader, so sometimes I'll read words and I know what they mean, but I've never heard them out loud and I don't realize it until I've messed it up. And last week on the podcast twice, I pronounced a word as apophenia. That's not the word. The word is apophenia. And I wanted to be completely honest that I was embarrassed by this. And I hope that you can forgive me. And remember, you can look this one up yourself. Apophenia often leads to pareidolia.
You are forgiven. So
thank you. Anyway, John, now I can get started. I actually watched, I accidentally had another Sarah Paulson festival because I watched another season of American Horror Story and she played like 3 or 4 roles. So that was by accident. But actually, I watched a documentary called Memoirs of a Hip Old Black Man. It's about a musician that I've been a fan of for a long time. My wife is especially a big fan of. His name is Vinx. He's a percussionist. And I actually saw him on tour with Sting and the Soul Cages tour. I guess it was 91 or so. And he's just a really interesting guy. He was an Olympic athlete, a musician, all this stuff. And it's a decent movie, but at the end of the movie, there's this whole thing about how Sting basically started his career and then screwed him out of all the money. That was like shocking and heartbreaking, which made the whole experience better than I thought it was. So Memoirs of a Hip Old Black Man is an okay movie with about a good story. But if you want to check out Vinx, Vinx, he's a very interesting and smart musician.
Wow. Okay.
Africania.
Wojo
Is
and
that your
Brad.
only suggestion?
Only one.
What?
Let's go. Don't remind him. Wojo and
I
Brad.
apologized. So I didn't want to take up all that time.
Wojo and Brad. What do you
Go
got?
ahead.
Well, basically, we've been working our way through Superstore since we had never watched the show. However, I was dismayed this week to find out that they've canceled it. It's in its last season after America Ferrara. Is that how you pronounce her name?
Yeah, America Ferrera. She left.
Ferrara. Yeah, she was on the first few episodes of the season that's going on now. We haven't gotten to that. We're in season 5. And because the ratings went down at the next episode after she left, they said, that's it. We'll finish out this season and that's it. And that's really kind of heartbreaking because it's hilarious.
She's got that kind of following.
Yeah. Well,
Wow.
this is one of the things where it's on a network. Maybe it'll get picked up by Netflix or Hulu or some other place. But it's just, it's in a really strong, I think, ensemble cast. And
Why did she leave? Do you know?
I read about it and I completely have forgotten.
Because she's the star of the show, right?
I guess she is. I mean, she's probably the top billing, but I wouldn't consider her like the only star. Like, I don't think she's necessarily the best one on the show. I mean, she's good on it.
She's really
But
good.
there's a lot of
but
good characters in there. It's
Mark McKinney from Kids in the Hall is
Oh,
hilarious.
I love Mark McKinney.
he's really
Oh,
funny.
he's so funny. And there's so many standout characters
Some of
there.
the secondary characters really have some really good lines and really good.
But
All right,
probably like what happened with The Office, they considered Michael Scott, played by Steve Carell, as the main character, and it stuck around for I think 2 seasons after
2 or
that.
3.
But I still thought it was a good show. It's
I've never seen Is it Superstore? Is that what it's called?
Superstore. It's on Hulu.
I
Very
worked
funny.
retail for far too long to watch that show.
Yeah, that's a tough. All right. Well, I'm going to recommend something, and I think my brother John is going to be shocked. A, because it's a black and white film. B, it's a film about Citizen Kane, and it's the David Fincher directed Mank on Netflix, which is fantastic.
So you've already watched it?
Mank? Yeah.
I don't know it was out yet.
What
It's been
studio
out.
put it out? It's on Netflix.
Netflix.
What studio?
It's on Netflix. I have no idea what studio.
Yeah, it was supposed to be theatrical.
Let me just say this. It's unbelievable. David Fincher's a genius, number one. 2, I didn't know the backstory of the writing of Citizen Kane. I mean, I understood it was about the relationship with Hearst.
First.
This really fleshes that out a little bit. It's a lot of legend and stuff like that. And Gary Oldman plays Herman Mankiewicz. It led me to want to see not Citizen Kane, but that RKO 214
281. Yeah.
281,
RKO
which I
281.
couldn't find. It's not streaming anywhere. I couldn't find it.
What?
Yeah, John Malkovich plays Herman Mankiewicz. I kind of wanted
Yeah.
to get in that. I wanted to fall down in that thing.
Love John Malkovich.
Now Fincher did some amazing stuff. He shot it like an old film, and he made it sound like an old film. It has a sound that it sounds like you're in a movie theater. It's got an echo. It's doing this reverb thing. It's amazing, and it's the way he shot it was like an old film. And he even has those little reel changes that popped up on old films that told the projectionist when to flip the reels.
The
He's
cigarette
got those.
burns. Yeah.
He's got those popping up in the corners too. And it's just well acted, well directed film about the Citizen Kane thing.
Check it out.
It's fantastic. So
Okay, cool.
just want to say it. Okay. Now on to holiday roulette. Okay. Woo! All right. And we all know, I'll say it again. The way this works is each square is going to bring a film that we're going to pitch for the next show. Okay. And it doesn't count against you for the order of our normal show. So we'll just get that out of the way now. Okay.
We
What
are
we'll do
that
is
petty and bitter.
we don't have to we don't have to get immersed in describing everything about the film. Just tell us why you want us to see it. If you win, then you can describe all you want. You get a whole podcast to describe everything you want to tell us about it. So let's start with, well, Joe and Brad, what do you got? What's your film?
We chose the movie. Okay, sorry. I saw that Sean and Debbie square lit up, and I thought I'm supposed to be quiet until our square lights up. So we chose the movie A Christmas Story.
A classic.
It's shown all day Christmas Day on a couple of the Turner Classic Movies, and is it TNT? Shows it. There are
It's
two.
TNT or TBS.
I think Debbie's allergic to your movie. I don't think she's going to vote for it. All right, would you like to see?
Everybody's seen it. I don't know how we go.
Well, I'll show the
I'm sure
trailer.
everybody's seen it more than once.
I think probably we've all seen this film a few dozen times, but
I'm sure.
Yeah. So
Here,
for those of you who haven't seen it,
In this modern age, too many people have lost sight of the true meaning of Christmas.
Mom! Hush!
Shut up, Ralphie! So now, in the spirit of the original,
Need you! Stop!
traditional, American Christmas,
Thanks a lot!
MGM presents A Christmas Story.
Dancing through the snow. Uncle!
For the field we go, laughing all the way. Bells on bobtail ring, making spirits fly. What fun it is to ride and sing! Ho, ho, ho! This sleigh's on tonight.
Fragile.
That must be Italian.
I think that says fragile, honey.
A Christmas Story.
Come on!
The movie that pulls off Santa's beard.
Oh, wow!
And unwraps the secrets
Didn't I get a tie this year?
of the original, traditional,
He looks like a deranged Easter bunny.
100% two-fisted, red-blooded,
It's smiling at me.
all-American Christmas. A Christmas Story.
Okay, I mean,
First of all, I would like to apologize. I completely forgot to wear the bunny suit that my Aunt Clara made for me.
Now that would have been cool.
well, I own a small version of the leg lamp. I saw
a lot
this
of
movie
people
when it
do.
came out.
Yeah.
I saw when it came out in 1982, the first run it had, the actual first run
wow.
with my friend Betty Flaherty. I didn't tell you this, John, but Betty Flaherty and I saw this film, and I fell in love with it. But anyway, go ahead.
With Betty Flaherty, you fell in love?
You've got 2 minutes to pitch, so go.
This is a great movie. It tells the story of a boy named Ralphie, and the whole thing he wants to do through the whole movie is convince his parents to buy him a Red Ryder BB gun. And everyone, including Santa, says, "You'll shoot your eye out." It's set in the 40s. It's so funny. There are so many great shots to it. The kid who stars in it, Peter Billingsley, well, now he's an adult, stayed in the movie industry, but not as an actor. And it's a classic. It's
Yes.
so many lines that people use from it. It's a major award.
Fragile.
Yeah, exactly. And it's just funny. And
Yeah.
that's, we're not going to.
I'll say this. I think the only thing working against you for a vote is it's been overplayed, this film.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And TNT, they did the
Good try to
same
pitch
thing.
it. I know everybody's
we're
saying
not, we're not trying to talk you into it. We were good doing
No, but I'm just saying,
decided
unfortunately, the unfortunate thing is it's a fabulous film.
Yeah.
And I just think it's beat to death, just like It's a Wonderful
Oh, it
Life.
is.
It's just they've played it over and over and over. Because I had all kinds of stuff. I had paraphernalia. I quoted this film forever. I use fudge all the time when I'm yelling at my kids. I go, "Oh, fudge!"
That's not true, Ralph. You actually say the word with your kids. Who are you
Sometimes,
kidding?
but a lot of times I
Fudge.
say fudge. But anyway,
Yeah.
it's a great pick. It's a great pick. I'm not trying to influence anybody, I swear to you, but
I don't know if any of you have seen the musical. It came to Baltimore, I guess, a couple seasons ago at the Hippodrome.
No.
If you liked the movie, you'd like the musical. There's original music. I don't really remember the songs. They weren't bad or anything. It felt like the movie, and the movie is a pleasant and nice holiday movie. So it was fun to see it, just something in a different way, especially again after TBS runs it all the time.
Right.
Well, there's also
Go
the
ahead,
whole
Ralph,
Christmas
sorry.
story industry, right? There's a house that you can go live in.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
The
right.
house.
Spend a night in the
yeah.
house, right?
Yeah, he
So-
redid it. So it looked like the original house.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
He
Amazing.
remodeled. Peter Billingsley still does acting. John Favreau is his producing partner, but he was in Elf. He was in Iron Man 2.
Oh, that's right.
So he still does some stuff.
Right, I
but
told you he directed
the new Spider-Man he was in.
He directed that film where Vince Vaughn and they do this couples retreat.
Couples
He was the
Retreat,
director on that one because he's a friend. He's
horrible
friends with
movie.
Vince Vaughn and John Favreau. So
I think
great.
we're all friends with Vince Vaughn, if we're really honest.
That was a
Good
great
call.
choice.
Great Christmas movie.
Great Christmas film. All right, let's go to John.
Interestingly,
Cartucci.
though, I do want to point out, like It's a Wonderful Life, it was not a huge hit when it came out.
No.
Yeah.
No,
I was surprised to see it did make some money though. It made 20 million at the box office
Yeah, but
I'm
it wasn't
sure it's
like-
made.
on a 3 million budget. I mean, but
And more interestingly, did I pronounce that right, Drew?
You did
Interestingly,
a great job.
Thank you, Drew.
Next time with more confidence, but you did it right.
It's directed by Bob Clark, who also directed what, Sean? What famous movie did Bob Clark direct?
Baby Geniuses.
No,
That and
children shouldn't play with dead things.
Porky.
no, come on,
yeah,
Porky's.
Porky's.
He directed Porky's and he directed Black Christmas. Okay,
did.
the anti-Christmas story, among other many great films. But anyway, all right, John Cartucci, what's your film?
Well, I got to be honest, this was really tough for me because there are two movies I watch every Christmas, usually a few days before the actual Christmas. It's a Wonderful Life, which you can see the poster in the background. And the other one is 1951's A Christmas Carol, or it was originally titled Scrooge. They changed it to A Christmas Carol. But I picked A Christmas Carol because during the holidays, I watch every version of it, and I think this is by far the best version because of the performance by Alistair Sim. So before I talk about it, Ralph, why don't you show the trailer? If you have one. Do you have one for it?
I believe I do.
Wait a minute. I want to get my cap on. Okay,
Get
go
your
ahead.
cap. You got your cap on?
I got it now. Go ahead. It's the best goose in all of London.
God bless us, everyone.
These glowing words spoken by Tiny Tim have warmed the hearts of millions the world over. Now hear Tiny Tim and all the other wonderful people in this unforgettable story speaking their immortal lines as the most joyous of all Dickens classics reaches new heights of greatness on the screen.
So a Merry Christmas to you anyway, Uncle.
Good evening.
And a Happy New Year.
Good evening. Humbug! It's all humbug, I tell you. Mercy.
So the reason why I recommend this one, he probably gives the most nuanced performance of any of the Scrooges, other than I would say second place would be George C. Scott, who played Scrooge in the 80s. Most of the times it's a caricature. And this movie actually provides a little, you understand why he is the way he is. And he's not just this evil guy. He's actually not an awful guy like it's usually played. So when he goes through the change at the end of the movie, it seems a little more believable. And this is why it was so tough for me, because It's a Wonderful Life in this movie, the last scenes in the movie, I have the same reaction every time. I get a chill up my spine, no matter what, no matter how many times I've seen it, I get that little chill. And when he goes into his nephew's place at the end and the maid kind of shushes him in and he turns around a little bit and then walks in, and the look that his nephew gives him, and he explains, can you forgive a poor old man for having no eyes and no ears? It's just a wonderful movie, and his performance is so good that I don't care how many of these you see, I really do think this is the best one. And it's just a feeling at the end of the movie. He's just so good in it. And it's so I can't recommend it any higher. Like I said, these two movies I used to watch with my nieces and nephews every Christmas. We used to watch these, and they loved both of these movies. It was hard to pick, but the reason why I went with this, It's a Wonderful Life, is only Christmas at the very end for the last 15 minutes of the movie, where happens Christmas Eve. So that's why I picked this one. You can't go wrong with either one, but I recommend this one highly. So,
and you discount the Bill Murray playing Scrooge?
Yeah, I did not like that movie. I didn't think it was very good. In fact, Alistair Sim was so good in 1972, there was an Academy Award winning animated version where he and the Ghost of Marley did the voices.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, it's really interesting animation
awesome.
Too.
But what do you think about the Muppets version?
I actually, it's very good. You
I like
know
that
what? It's
one
good. And you know what's another version that's really good? Mr. Magoo.
I loved him.
It really is. But and there's another one with Henry Winkler called American Christmas Carol. I don't know if you've ever seen that. Excellent. But this is the one. If I could only watch one Christmas Carol, this is the one that I would watch.
Well, and I agree with you in that every year. I don't know if they did it last year, won't be done this year, but the Senator Theater in Baltimore used to do a Sunday every holiday season, and would bring canned goods for a food bank, and they would play It's a Wonderful Life, and they would play that version, and we would go as much.
Oh, really?
And you could stay, like if you brought enough canned goods, you could just keep watching. But we would stay and watch both of them. And seeing it on a huge screen.
Oh yeah,
great sound. It was good.
Oh, that's cool. I would love to see it on the big screen.
Good choice. Good choice brought to the table. Go ahead.
I have a question. I haven't seen this film or any of the other versions of A Christmas Carol except for Scrooged. I am familiar with Tiny Tim, mostly from the Howard Stern show. So was this movie the first, like the earliest that his career got attention? I'm just trying to figure out how he fits into the big picture.
Tiny Tim or?
Yeah, Tiny Tim.
Yeah.
Oh, is it a different Tiny Tim?
Tiptoe through the
yeah.
Is his name,
Sorry.
little kid, is Tim?
Can you mute Drew's square for the rest of the podcast?
Speaking of Drew, okay. Since Drew brought it up, Drew, what'd you bring to the table?
Wait a minute. Well, I want to hear you. Wait, Sean and Debbie, you got anything to say about the 51 Christmas Carol?
Oh,
Well,
yeah.
we'll speak about that when we get to our children.
Yeah, hold on.
Okay.
Don't you don't bury the lead there. We got to bury the lead a little. Okay, go ahead, Drew.
So, a little behind the scenes. We tell each other our choices for this episode, and some of the choices, there's some dispute. Is it really Christmassy enough? And that's a legitimate discussion to have. And I thought this is a holiday movie thing that can be pretty broad. So I was going to submit a movie about 6 friends who go on a holiday in a cave, and it's called The Descent. But Ralph said that was not really the holiday they were looking for.
Jeez.
So I picked a
I've already
different
voted on that one, so
It's a winner. Go for it again.
You're getting as bad as Debbie with Bride of Frankenstein. It's like, all right, enough. We got it. We got it.
So I'm doing you a favor by not bringing you The Descent Part 2, by the
Thank
way.
you.
So the movie that I picked is a movie from Finland. It's from about 10 years ago. It's called Rare Exports: A Christmas Tale. And it takes place on the border of Russia and Finland. And I think I learned a lot about the way Finns look at Christmas and Santa Claus from this movie. And if you want to show a trailer, give people a sense of what we're talking about, please do.
It's the most magical time of the year, when traditions are honored and the youngest among us still believe in the spirit of the season.
We found something else than just plain rocks and dirt.
This mountain is like a giant ice box.
For storing what?
Drill deeper. Prepare the dynamite. You have a grave to rob.
Minkälaiset sudet tekee? Hyvää joulua.
Isä! Vetti on viety!
We have Santa Claus. Selitä sille, että meillä on täällä pukki myytävänä.
He sees you when you're sleeping. He knows when you're awake. He knows if you've been bad or good. And he doesn't give up. Rare Exports: A Christmas Tale.
All right, before anybody says anything, the best part of the whole trailer was John's reaction.
Oh, yeah.
To the trailer, because I knew this would spark some interest. Go ahead, Drew.
Right. So there's other movies that are about versions of Santa Claus from Europe and that kind of character that are also good films. Like the recent Krampus movie, I think, was a surprisingly good horror movie and actually pretty loyal to the story. So Finland is one of those countries where Santa Claus is originally a bit more of a sinister character. So the movie begins, and the whole movie is in English and Finnish, as there's an international cast, or at least some Finnish people pretending to be international. And there's this excavation that you see in the movie is right on the border with Russia. It's very rural. It's already fraught with some challenges. And this family, you see this father and son, something seems to be in the mountain that may be of value and may be dangerous. Spoiler, it's Santa. And he's a monster. And the movie is ridiculous and really funny and gives you a real look at the idea of Santa as this creature that preys on and judges children and all that kind of stuff. And also, honestly, it's one of those movies that does a lot with what's clearly not a really big budget. And the guy's gone on to make a couple of other movies, which were also good. None of them were Christmas, but they were very much the same sort of silliness. And it's really, I just had more fun with it than I expected. I thought it was going to be more of a straight horror movie, but it was just really fun. And then the ending is, it's one of those movies where it ends and then there's another minute and a half and you go, oh, I did not think we were going there. And it's great. So that was a fun movie that had a bunch of surprises for me.
John, you're probably not going to like that ending.
Oh no, it's not. It's not like the Descent ending or something.
But does it give you?
Does it goes a little more than you expected, and
that chill up your spine, like at the end of It's a Wonderful Life, like that.
Does it what?
Does it give you that feeling like at the end of It's a Wonderful Life, like
I
that?
I haven't seen that, so I don't know.
At the end of a Christmas Carol. Yeah, that's what it sounds like.
I've actually seen Rare Exports, and it's quite good.
Oh,
so,
good.
But doesn't mean I'm going to vote for it. I'm just saying.
When that movie came out, the Murphy family would go from house to house, and I'd watch. I didn't think anybody else in the family, but someone at every gathering was what they were all talking about it. So quite
I've never
a
even
hit
heard
with
of
the
it.
Murphy family, rare exports
Good.
when it first came out.
And speaking of the Murphy family, you're up.
Okay,
Okay.
well, let me
Go ahead, Sean.
okay, because it's a complicated story. And this is a little behind the scenes for people watching the podcast. Well, on something like this, when we were told Christmas, Debbie's first, I decided I was really going to let Debbie make the choice since she's my lovely wife. And the first film she wanted to do was When Harry Met Sally, which we couldn't do because Brad and Michelle had texted, oh, we're doing Harry Met Sally. We're like, oh, no. And then Debbie's like, oh, we're going to watch Trading Places because we want to do something offbeat. And then we're like, yeah, maybe not Trading Places. And then we decided, well, we got to run for safety. So we wanted to do the 1951 version of Christmas Carol.
It was the best of times. It was the worst of times.
But we used this app called Just Watch when we're picking movies to see whether it's
The one we
streaming.
got. That's the one we
And that app incorrectly said that the 1951 version was not streaming anywhere. So we decided to go, which I consider the second best version of Christmas Carol. The George C. Scott one is good, is the 1938 Reginald Owen one, which is not as good as the 1951.
But I must say, you must admit, Scrooge was better played by Alistair, but the best Tiny Tim,
was
our
the
selection.
1938, and also too,
He was so pitiful.
Leo G. Carroll as Marley was very good in this as well.
I got to say, you guys aren't selling this very hard, but okay.
No, it's the inferior movie.
Right.
We can-
And I have another
their
question.
third choice,
Oh,
Ralph.
but I didn't put out-
Yeah, what do you expect? It's their third choice.
What,
Go ahead,
to
John.
me, what is interesting is that is the contrast. There's more backstory. John is right. They just gloss over so much, like Scrooge breaking up with his girl because he became greedy, or breaking up with them. In the 1938 version, the angel just says, or the ghost just says, yes, and other things happened in your past too, like when you lost your girl, which they never even showed because you were greedy. It's like, oh, I'm glad you just decided to tell us and not show us that.
Yeah. And the wonderful thing about this movie, I love it, about this being a Christmas time, when we're giving, tis the season for giving and thinking of those things, of gifts to people. Yeah, we do get greedy, don't we? Sometimes we go, well, do we want to buy that $200 train set for the grandkid? Or do we want to just
keep the money and spend it on drugs?
I would say that's
One or the
greedy.
other.
I'm not going to lie. That sounds greedy to me.
Do you have a preview?
Yeah,
sorry. Let's watch the 1938.
Yes, but before I show the trailer, because I would have
the best.
Okay, before I show this trailer, I would have brought this up had Harry Met Sally come up here. I'm not quite sure that's a holiday movie. Just I'm just saying. I get that it takes place at the end at New Year's Eve, but I wouldn't. That's just me, my opinion. We'll talk about it later. But
are you talking about the When Harry Met Sally 1951 version, or the? They each have their strengths. I was just
I'm talking about when did that come out? 86. All right.
The original When Harold Met Sally.
When Harold. All right, which one is this? Okay, Christmas. 1938. Here we go.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Well, I've been assigned one of the most pleasant tasks I've ever known. I'm going to introduce to you a character I've loved for many years. Strangely enough, when you first meet him, you're going to loathe the very sight of him. He's mean and grasping. He's hard-hearted and tight-fisted. As miserable an old windbag as ever faked a sneeze when the collection plate goes by. He'll probably remind many of you of your landlord. But you, as I did, and millions before us, are going to grow to love him. Hesitantly at first, I'll admit, but finally he'll overwhelm your heart and be off with it. His name is Scrooge, the famous Dickens character, Ebenezer Scrooge of A Christmas Carol. Old Scrooge is played on the screen by Reginald Owen. And Reginald is old Scrooge, just exactly as Dickens conceived him, and as you and your children know him and love him.
Hey, can I ask a dumb question?
Yeah.
Is that the guy who was Mr. Potter in?
Yes.
And It's a Wonderful Life.
Yeah,
Okay.
the backstory is he was supposed to play Scrooge, but
wow.
got sick. So he's the one that recommended Reginald Owen. That's why he did that trailer. Because Lionel Barrymore played him on radio for like 10 years straight, played Scrooge, and then played it that year on radio too.
Interesting. All right.
Yeah,
Not bad.
and,
Okay.
yeah, it's an interesting contrast is that in some ways this movie's a little goofier, like Fred's a little goofier, and the 51 version is actually a lot more religious. There's a lot more Bible quoting and hymns sung in the 1951 version.
Well, Freddie has a much bigger role in this one
Yes.
versus the 51.
And also, we're talking about, you know, the what constitutes a great film is having a very bad character and then a very good character. This is one all tied in one. And Charles Dickens really, oh my gosh, what goes on internally with a person, you know, with Scrooge. I cry every time I see this movie. I don't know about you guys, but I do cry. I tear up. And with A Wonderful Life too.
Yeah,
I will
not this one.
It's hard to kill this movie. To kill this story. It's a near perfectly structured story. It's very sentimental. It's very hard to kill it. Scrooge came really close. You know, I will say it's funny if you remember when Scrooge came out, because I knew Ralph was considering this one, is that it got horrible reviews. It was really panned. And I went with a friend of mine, Bob Cusick, and and halfway through he turned to me and goes, "Boy, the rest of this movie must really suck because it's been hilarious up till now."
Right.
Well,
it's got, you know what? You talk about the tingle at the end of these you're talking about. I mean, I'm an easy mark, so Scrooge got me too. When Bill Murray does that speech at the end and he flips, because he's a real ass through the whole film. I got it. These are the classics. But Dickens, you're right. Dickens translates all over the place, right? I mean,
Muppets.
Everywhere.
But the MGM version got away from the source material. Like the scene, one of the best scenes in A Christmas Carol is when Bob Cratchit doesn't know it's Scrooge who did all this stuff. So he comes in the office the next day and Scrooge pretends like he's going to fire him. Well, in this version, he goes right to the house with the turkey and, you know, so they don't have any of that. And he was good. I mean, Reginald Owen was good, but he played it as a caricature. That's why I prefer. Now, it was a much bigger budget. It was MGM sunk everything into it. It's a beautiful looking movie.
Yeah.
But I prefer the dinginess of the 51. And it is dingy.
Yeah.
But what about, wasn't there a musical? You said
Scrooge.
Albert Finney.
Albert Finney, and it's great. He's the first one to play both the young Scrooge and the old Scrooge, and he played it. I think he was 32 when he made it, and he's convincing in both. It's real, and it's got great music too. You know how Drew, you said you don't remember any of the music. You'll remember some of the music from Scrooge. I like that big, beautiful musical.
That's awesome. All right, well now it's my turn. And
what'd you pick, Ralph?
Oh, I don't know. Maybe.
Oh,
I don't know.
Good call.
Maybe. Okay.
He was going to pick When Harry Met Sally.
No. It used to be I had one movie I would watch every Christmas, and it was A Christmas Story. Every Christmas. And then it got beat to death. And even I get to the point where it's like, all right, so now I have two films I watch every Christmas. One is Love Actually.
Okay.
I love that film.
Yeah.
Love it. Makes me cry. You talk about tearing up, gets me every time. Andrew, what's his name? Throwing the cards and
just don't connect you with that movie.
I'm about to weep. Wait a second.
We're here, Ralph.
And the second one, obviously, is A Christmas Vacation with Chevy Chase. That is my number one go-to film for Christmas or holiday. And here is a trailer.
To be jolly, fa la 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 la.
After vacationing across America and throughout Europe,
Take it, Russ.
this holiday season, the Griswolds are going to play it safe.
Clark, we're stuck under a truck.
They're staying at home.
I give you the Griswold family Christmas tree.
Hope you're not getting sap all over your sweater, Clark.
All Clark wants is a quiet, old-fashioned Christmas.
Sorry. Got a little knot here. Can work on that.
What he's going to get is the gift that keeps on living.
Merry Christmas.
His family.
We didn't come to impose.
Oh, hell, there's plenty of room. Do you sleep with your brother? Do you know how sick and twisted that is, Mom?
Well, I'm sleeping with your father.
Have you got a kiss for me?
You better take a rain check on that, Art. He's got lip fungus they ain't identified yet.
But no holiday could ever be more deeply touching.
We were gonna call, but Eddie wanted to make it a surprise.
If I woke up tomorrow with my head sewn to the carpet, I wouldn't be more surprised than I am right now.
We're really gonna fly down the hill with this stuff.
So genuinely moving.
Can I refill your eggnog for you? Drive you out to the middle of nowhere? Leave you for dead?
More truly uplifting.
Can I show you something?
I was just browsing.
Or more down to earth.
Merry Christmas!
If Santa is smart, he'll stay well clear of this joint. It's a death trap.
Than Christmas with the Griswolds.
Everybody come out quick, look at the lights!
They want you to say grace.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America.
This year, let Chevy Chase light up your holidays. National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation.
That thing had 9 lives. She just spent them all.
You crack up.
All right. First of all, I need to show my Wally World Ice Cube trays.
Nice.
I gotta pitch this really hard. All right. This was not written by Dickens. I understand that. It's written by John Hughes. Not directed by John Hughes, but written. It's third in the Vacation or the Griswold series. And this movie has such heart and such funny comedy. And, you know, Chevy Chase, you take him or leave him, he was fantastic in this film. It hits every single family coming home for Christmas, nostalgia about Christmas, everything going wrong at Christmas, sibling rivalries, all the stuff that everybody knows when, we're in COVID now, so you don't have all this stuff going on, but it brings all this stuff together. And Chevy Chase plays the perfect Boyle, and he's trying to make the perfect Christmas for his family. Christmas is that he remembered, and all hell breaks loose. And I just find it fantastic. And I'm going to talk about all the people that are in this film. Beverly D'Angelo, obviously she's in all of them. Juliette Lewis, they flip these kids out left and right.
Yeah, it's a drag.
Johnny Galecki. But now the old actors in there,
Johnny
John
Galecki.
Randolph, Diane Ladd, E.G. Marshall, Doris Roberts, Randy Quaid, Miriam Flynn. Just a group of people that this movie's almost a perfect film. And it's got
The original
super heart.
The original Betty Boop.
Who's that? Doris
The
Roberts?
grandmother.
Oh, the one that does
She's
the
Betty
Pledge of
Boop.
Allegiance at the end.
She was Betty Boop.
Who's the guy who's the uncle that blows up the whole place? What's his
William Hickey.
Yeah, that guy. He's in everything. Anyway, you talk about chills getting at the end of your film. I get chills every time when all the stuff comes together, and it's just a fantastic film. So that's my pitch.
Ultimately, this movie with all the slapstick is about he wants his family to have a great family Christmas like he remembered. That's what the whole movie is ultimately about. So it is. It's got a lot as all this goofy stuff's going on, like the scene where he's up in the attic and he starts watching old movies. I mean,
when he pulls out the projector.
A quiet moment.
He's stuck up in the attic. He finds the projector. It's Super 8 film, which right away I'm in. It's nostalgia. And then they play this Ray Charles song while he's watching it, and you just fall. And then he falls. The pratfall is he sticks his leg through the ceiling and all hell breaks. It's just everything kind of works. Anyway, that's my film, and that's it. So
before we vote, can I say something?
Sure can.
There were a lot of other Christmas movies that we could have considered that I want to mention because they're really good and we watched. Yep. Elf.
Oh yeah.
Funny movie.
Yep.
Home Alone.
Yeah.
No, it's been done to death, but I'll tell you, I saw the best time I saw Home Alone. Well, unfortunately, it was at the Golden Ring Movies, which was not the best place. But my college boyfriend and I went to see it, and here was the thing: we went to see it. During the day,
I was checking your face.
During the day.
What?
And
you got a boyfriend?
And it was the whole place was filled with kids. And if you've never gotten to see a movie with all the pratfalls and all the funny stuff, surrounded by kids, because kids don't stifle their laughter. It was so cool to see that movie then. And I still like watching that movie. When Harry Met Sally, which of course I knew we were gonna have to argue whether it was a Christmas movie or not, so we didn't bring it. The Muppets Christmas Carol, which I love.
We could have made it a Christmas Carol roulette.
Yeah, we talked about that when we found out you two were both picking Christmas carols. I said to Brett, I really like that. He said, don't pick the Muppet one. But there are so many.
There are, and the
Cranks. Have you guys seen Christmas with the Cranks?
That's with Tim
Allen and Sigourney Weaver.
There's a lot. Listen, I just saw one on Netflix, or I rented Fat Man with Mel Gibson.
How was that?
It's fantastic. That's going to be the new classic film you watch every year.
Yeah, I want to see that one.
I want to see that. You got to bury your feelings about Mel. I swear, bury the feelings about Mel and watch this film.
Oh, Jamie Lee Curtis, right?
Jamie Lee Curtis is in the Cranks. That's right.
Is in the Cranks, right? I was wrong with that.
No, even a Christmas Santa Claus with Tim Allen.
The Santa Claus.
Tim Allen.
The Santa Claus.
The Santa
There's
Claus.
a lot of them. How about Richard Donner did Santa Claus? Remember that after Superman?
Yeah.
It's a terrible film, but he did right.
Awful. Dudley Moore is an elf.
Don't forget the Santa Claus 2 and the Santa Claus 3.
Oh, and Bad Santa starring Billy Bob Thornton.
Oh, that was
weird. Let's not go there. We can't go there.
The one film I wanted to bring was For Your Consideration, the Christopher Guest film.
Oh, yeah.
Because they were making that film Home for Purim.
Yeah.
I forgot to mention
that was a good movie.
That was a great movie.
Julia Louis-Dreyfus and Christopher Guest's brother play the yuppie couple next to Chevy Chase, and and he destroys their. Yeah. Listen, there's tons.
Gremlins.
I think it's
Gremlins is a Christmas movie.
Yes,
Die Hard.
it's considered. Yeah.
Die Hard, I think. Certainly, Die Hard 2 takes place at Christmas, but Die Hard 1 is a Christmas film.
Well, you know what? Groundhog Day takes place on February 2nd, but it's not a Super Bowl movie.
All right, enough. Let's vote. Here we go. This is the tough time. All right, we're going to start with Wojo and Brad. You guys
haven't decided to vote. Did we?
Yes. We're picking John's movie.
Okay.
1951.
Okay.
Because Drew needs to see it.
Drew, what's your vote, Drew?
Well, I don't feel comfortable voting for my own movie, even though that may be the only vote it gets, and I still think it's it. But I trust John when it comes to the classic American cinema choices that I may not have seen yet. So I'm going to vote for Christmas Carol 1951 as well.
Excellent. Excellent. One more vote and he automatically wins. Sean and Debbie?
Well, we can't choose because, it's the Queen's Gambit with John, and we surrender our
checkmate.
Checkmate.
But also, but here's another thing. You gotta love
Christmas Vacation.
Yeah. You know, we're gonna. It's like we're torn.
Oh,
we are
well, you got to make a choice.
Since it's going to be like, what do you say?
Let's go with Christmas Carol.
Okay.
You know what? I'm glad you did that.
John was probably going to choose it anyway. So
you would have put me.
I want you to know I feel very comfortable voting for my own movie. So I vote Christmas Carol also.
Well, Ralph, what I was going to say is if you want me to make it a little more interesting, I don't mind changing my vote. I vote for The Descent.
No. You know what? We're gonna go.
Bride of Frankenstein.
I am voting for Christmas Carol 1951 as well. So that's a full.
Unanimous.
That's a full.
Sweet.
Yes. I would. You know, and the truth is, I wouldn't have. If Sean and Debbie had gone Christmas Vacation, I might have flipped my vote to Christmas Vacation just to make it interesting. But because they didn't, I like the idea that John got the full undefeated. So that's your film. I can't wait to.
Nice.
Now,
I'm psyched.
Can we stream this thing or what?
I actually think it's on YouTube. I think I saw it available on YouTube.
Okay.
All right.
So
next week
on Prime. I'll tell you, it was on Prime, but it's the YouTube on Prime. So if you have Prime, you can see it, but they have commercials. They have like 3 sets of commercials.
That's fine.
So next week, John, bring that film to the table and explain everything you want. You got a full. You know what?
The whole podcast.
Yeah, I just made a decision. I think we're going to make that episode 20 minutes long.
Oh, that's great. The people will see half of it.
Congratulations.
Awesome.
Good. That's a good win.
Actually, everyone had great picks. So I mean, everyone did have good picks.
I understand when you do this. It's like anytime you have to pick one of the genre, it's very tough to do. And there's some movies that, like as Drew can attest to, there's some movies you see at holiday time that become holiday movies for you that aren't necessarily, holiday films. So,
well, I'm not going to lie, Drew. You definitely have piqued my interest in watching that movie based on the trailer. So I might just watch it anyway, just to see what the hell it's about.
I would recommend it, and then if you enjoy it, I would also recommend Big Game. Same director, same kid. 5 years later, Samuel L. Jackson is the president of the United States. Air Force One gets shot down over Finland, and it's like Die Hard in the woods with a little kid. You would love it.
How can you not love
so fun.
Jackson as the president?
Samuel Jackson could read
wow.
a phone book with the motherfucker.
Hey, what?
Anything he's in.
While we're online, may I suggest another roulette? Our favorite sports movie for our Super Bowl episode.
That's good.
Oh,
we can do roulettes for everything.
Wait, you guys already did
Listen, I want to do a roulette of Die Hard inspired films. Okay, Die Hard on a bus, Die Hard on a bridge, Die Hard in a hockey rink, Die Hard on a train,
Die Hard in Finland.
All right, but I think you guys all need to watch.
Christmas.
You guys all need to stream Fat Man with Mel Gibson. Just saying.
I'm definitely seeing that before Christmas. I wanted to wait.
You should.
If we're wrapping up, Ralph, can I say something?
Absolutely.
All right. So, sometimes on the podcast, we talk about stuff that's actually happening in the world of the movies, that sort of stuff. And we didn't even talk about that really crazy story. The news of Warner Brothers is going to put all their movies next year on HBO Max and theaters, which is already blowing up a lot of stuff. But that's not what I want to talk about. There was actually a great loss in not only the world of entertainment, but my personal world of entertainment this week. As we know, Santa Claus is he's a fat white man with an army of slaves who casts moral judgments. He manipulates children and he distributes resources inequitably. Which reminded me of Immortan Joe, the villain in Mad Max Fury Road. And Hugh Keys-Byrne, who played Immortan Joe, is a towering villain in that, and also played the villain in the first Mad Max movie. Toe Cutter. He died at 73. Apparently he died peacefully after a long illness. It wasn't part of COVID or anything like that. But that's one of those things that the whole world doesn't necessarily know who he is, but he's very important to you. And I also remember seeing, I can't remember, a comic somebody made this comment, but basically they went to the theater and they saw all the ads for Mad Max Fury Road, and there was one that was just for Tom Hardy, and one that was just Charlize Theron, and one that was just Nicholas Hoult, and then one that was Hugh Keys Byrne. And the comedian said, that guy has the greatest agent in the history of Hollywood. But he was,
well, Drew, I'm glad since you brought that up and relating it to movies, predominantly featured in the movie The Right Stuff was test pilot Chuck Yeager.
Yes, I saw
He
that.
just passed away. An amazing human being. The stuff that guy did in his career is incredible. I think he was 93.
97.
97.
Yeah.
Was he 97?
Yeah.
So, great. What a great life. And obviously the inspiration for that movie. So,
well, you know the saying that there are old pilots and there are bold pilots, but there are no old, bold pilots. Chuck Yeager is an old, bold pilot.
Yeah.
Like that's
he
that's
did
a piece
3
of history
tours,
right
as a
there.
matter
His
of
life.
fact. I mean,
Well, let's remember a lot of people because this is the time to do that. So,
yeah,
nice job.
And let's
Nice
remember,
job.
40 years ago today, John Lennon shot by that son of a.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Look
We're
how,
really
look
ending on
how
a high
prescient
note.
we are, John. We're very prescient. Did you notice
Well,
that?
it's a trope, Ralph.
All right, everybody. Listen, nice job.
Yeah.
Congratulations, John. That was a full.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That was unanimous victory.
Muzzle
Amazing.
tough.
And I think we kind of won too.
Because
So in a little way, you did. I think
I
we all
think for
won.
people who haven't seen it, I hope so. I really do. I hope so.
I think we all won. So we'll see.
I think
And then-
we all won. That's
Love Actually.
Debbie, that was
Watch
really
Love
nice.
Actually. All right. Have a
Anyway,
great week,
Debbie.
everybody. We'll see you next week.
okay.
Bye.
All right.
All right. Goodbye.